Hi, it's your girl, Queen ShanShan, and we are here back with a broadcast podcast on a new level, on a new genre with Zoom call. And my special guest this week is Dr. Judi Bloom. Now, if you guys remember, I had Miss Judi Bloom, Dr. Judi Bloom last year on our podcast, and it was very enlightening to a lot of people. You were actually my you were my third season guest premiere, Miss Judi, last year, and everyone loved it. How are you doing?
I'm doing great and honored to be back.
Thank you. Thank you. Real quick before we get into the nitty gritty, tell people who you are and how did you come to be the person you are?
Well, that's a long story.
That's a long story.
But let's start.
Look at the tidbits
and the highlights, okay?
Yes.
I grew up on the East Coast, went to Cornell University, became a television news anchor and reporter, got married, had 2 kids, and decided when I had kids to change careers because I couldn't really do the kind of work I was doing and be the kind of parent I knew that I needed to be. So that was the impetus for me to change careers. Mm-hmm. And I was a psych major originally at Cornell, so it made sense to me to go back into that, and I could have a career where I could work my hours around my kids' needs. So that's what I did, and I've been a psychologist in private practice in Santa Monica, California for the last 26 years.
Yay!
Yeah, a long time. I'm licensed as a marriage and family therapist. My doctorate is clinical psychology. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's wonderful. Well, let's talk about the mental and emotional impact that COVID is having right now. Let's be selfish a little bit. Our nation. Let's talk about our nation.
Sure.
Going through it probably even worse than we are. But I wanted to be a little selfish and talk about our community, the American community. In the last 4 months, I don't think in my last years of being 48 years on this planet have I seen a shift in morality,
right,
and a shift in the state of the affairs of our government,
right,
political and social wise. Relationships have changed in the last 4 months that I've seen, that I've been a part of. Friendships, I've seen marriages decline. I've seen relationships with friends who've been in, not marriages, but in relationships for years decline. We have seen a rapid reduction of job and employment in this country like we've never seen before, not even in the Great Depression. We've seen this. So it's bringing on a lot of anxiety and despair. I texted you the word yesterday, despair, and you said it's the same thing. For me, depression, despair, you're right. I think despair is even worse than depression. When I use the word despair, it feels that there's no way out. And so what happens? The breathing stops, and then this.
And the body tightens, that's right.
Woo, and I don't breathe. So explain or give us the breakdown of what you feel is happening and how we can do some exercises or just come back to earth. Because right now I'm in outer space with my thoughts. Yeah. And so what are your thoughts on the current events right now, basically?
Well, it's, when we're talking about that despair, it's loss of hope, it's hopelessness and helplessness. Right. And I think that's something that everybody is dealing with at some level at this point, okay? Because the virus is not in our control. It's not, and that's just reality. And people hate being out of control, and then they try to compensate by over controlling other things. Okay, maybe I can control this one little thing, and then if that gets out of control, I really spin out because now I can't control anything. So now my anger is through the roof about something maybe pointless, maybe really silly, but it's a reaction to feeling so out of control about the world in general and what's going on. Okay. It's even the activism that's going on right now, both in terms of awareness of racism in this country, and also awareness of what's happening politically in the country, right?
Right.
That has spawned the activism. Okay. Well, that's a way of seizing control. Okay. So that's a way for people who are feeling very out of control about this whole situation, now at least trying to control something. Okay.
Well,
Something.
I was part of the peaceful protests that were happening early in June
Right.
for Black Lives Matter, because I felt that I had a voice. And you know, a lot of people were saying, well, it was only a way for people to get out of the house in March because everybody was quarantined. I don't share in that assumption. My assumption, my real reason was to scream out against police brutality. That's what Black Lives Matter is all about. So we were perceived on some that we were burning down buildings, and there were people who were out there actually doing that and looting. And come to find out, there was not people from the Black Lives Matter. It was other groups, unfortunately, trying to make the name even worse. But going back to when you're saying the control, my control was getting to my car and helping out the protesters, pass out water, pass out bananas. I was out there every day. I was also helping the streets getting cleaned. So there was a control factor that I was doing something right for myself and right for the community, and voicing my First Amendment rights as well. Right. Yeah. But
that was something you could control, you could concretely do. Exactly. Okay. And all of us, again, you know, are feeling so out of control about life in general right now. You can't control whether your kids are going to go to school. You can't control if you're going to have a job to go to. You can't control, you know, all of that, right? Of course we feel that. And the virus itself, right? You can't control, you know, you can get the virus. I mean, that's reality, you know. I mean, why we need to take huge precautions in order to prevent that from happening. So again, it's you know, people trying to make up for that by these other acts being overly controlling, and that also is playing out in some of the conflict that goes on with people who are, you know, living with other people, whether it's family members or friends or, you know, whatever the living situation might be, and where a lot of conflict, you know, starts to develop because everybody there in that group is feeling those same things, feeling out of control about things.
Yeah.
And then if something happens, somebody says something or, you know, does something that irritates somebody else in the group, right, or doesn't respect their boundaries or whatever, they react by overreacting. And there you have the anger, out of control, foot and mouth.
I'm not gonna say I wasn't. I'm imperfect like the next person. I have my flaws, like like the same person, next person. I can't overreact because I'm a warm-blooded, hot-blooded individual that needs to be voiced. I want to voice my opinion. You voice your opinion. Now it's time to voice my opinion. And sometimes I feel, again, I'm just speaking on myself, that our voices are not heard, and that brings on the anxiety and the angst and the other feelings that we can't control. But Dr. Judi Bloom, we can control those.
We can control. We can control everything about our own behavior.
Give us an example.
Anybody else, but you can control yourself.
Besides meditating, what else do you suggest?
Well, you know, first is learning better communication tools. Okay. So what I like to use is reflective listening, where one person speaks, the other person just listens. Don't say anything. Okay. But you have to maintain eye contact and really listen to the other person talk. Okay. When you're done talking about how they feel about things, and the person talking needs to say what they're feeling when something specific happens, okay, and why they feel that way. So it's, I feel X when this happens, not when you do this. When you do this is blame, okay? But when this happens, because this is the reason I feel this way, because that's really important for the other person to even understand where you're coming from. And then the other person just listens and says, okay, this is what I heard, right? reflect it back. Did I hear you correctly? Do you want to add anything to that? And then it gives you a chance to correct what they heard. Maybe you misspoke. Maybe they just heard you wrong, whatever. Okay. But when you're done with that, you switch places and the other person talks. But it's done very respectfully. It's done calmly. It's done in a manner where everybody feels heard. Okay. Because now I know you heard me because you just said what I said. All right. Now I know you actually heard me.
Okay.
And you get it.
I would like to take that to a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not really seeing each other face to face,
You can do it on Zoom.
or text. Well, if there's a text war,
Yeah, not
text conflict,
I don't like
it's hard to do that when you're texting.
No, do not do it when you're texting.
I know it's not. It's hard.
No, texting should only be used for, I'll meet you at 3:00. That's it. Otherwise,
3:00. Yeah, I'll see you there. We'll get a cocktail there. We can talk about
all right.
how I made you feel, and I'm going to talk about how you made me feel. Yes, that's when you want to have that conversation.
Yeah, no texting of anything substantive ever.
Ever.
Bad idea. Definitely a bad idea.
A lot of people hide behind the text, though. A lot of people have that passive aggressive mentality because they don't want to pick up the phone and say, or FaceTime you and say, this is what you made me feel yesterday, da-da-da-da-da-da-do. And then vice versa. A lot of people don't want to face the music on the phone.
Right, but I want you to notice the words. It's not, this is how you made me feel. It's,
okay.
I felt
this
way when this happened, not when you did this.
Oh, John, I felt this way when you said this to me the other day.
John, I felt X, okay, when we were talking about whatever, and I heard, and you negated my experience, for instance. Okay, it's what happened, not just when you did this, when this happened. Okay, when my experience was negated, not when you negated my experience. There's a difference in the way people hear it. As soon as you say you, they get defensive, and then they don't hear the rest of it.
Because you're blaming them.
Because you're blaming them. That's correct. So no blame.
No blame.
It's just when this happened. And this is why, because. Okay.
What is the next level of the anxiety that we're feeling, the hopelessness? We are in Los Angeles. I can't speak on a lot of other cities and towns that are happening in the United States, but in Los Angeles, we are now still on lockdown, virtually to a point where we could still go to restaurants outside as long as there's patio seating and other things outside, but we still can't get our nails done, our hair done. All salons are closed, massage places are closed, where people relied on that for that. And then we also are, these people who did these services aren't working,
right?
Causing the other, excuse me, the other anxiety of people not working. There are over 30 million people unemployed. What is the next level of what was the recommendation, the advice you can give us for people who feel the hopelessness of not getting back to where we were 7-8 months ago?
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing is to realize that what we're really seeing is a grief reaction, okay? Where there was denial, this just can't be happening, right? There's anger at the whole situation, at the government, at whatever, at your employer, whatever. The bargaining, the if onlys, if only I'd done this, if only I could do that, right? If only. The depression, that sadness, that hopelessness and helplessness feeling, okay? And then we get to acceptance, that is simply where we are right now in terms of the world around us, but that things will change. This is temporary. The world has gone through much worse than this. Much worse, many times.
It has, but not our generation. You haven't experienced it. I haven't experienced it. My parents haven't experienced anything like that.
That's right. But in terms of historically, the world has gone through a lot worse. Okay? And come out of it. We will come out of this. It may take another year. Okay? It may. But it probably won't take much more than that, okay, given the development of vaccines, where we are right now, distribution, getting that distributed to the general population, all that. it's probably a realistic estimate is anywhere from 6 months to a year away, right? Okay, but that's not forever. And people have to remind themselves of that. It's not forever, it's for now. And if you just stay grounded and stay present and do things that can bring you joy, whether it's creative pursuits or making sure you do stay in touch with family or with friends, not totally isolating, especially people who live alone, making sure you keep those connections.
Yes.
And it's going for walks. You can still go for walks even if your gym is closed. You can go for a walk, and it makes a world of difference in how you feel, because
It does.
It elevates your
when I do.
dopamine levels. Okay.
I know when I go for a walk, either in the morning and the afternoon, I just feel lighter.
Right. Exactly, because your serotonin and dopamine levels spike. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
And that's your natural antidepressant, right? So it makes a huge difference. There are online exercise classes, that people can take. Many of them free. Okay. So watch what you eat. Okay. What we put in our bodies really affects our moods, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eating healthy, basically eating a Mediterranean kind of a diet is the healthiest diet you can eat. So it's all of those things. It's taking care of ourselves. You can't go to a spa. You can give yourself a facial. It's that. You can buy a massage wand and give yourself a massage. Or if you have a partner, they can use it on you, right?
Yeah, that's true.
There are workarounds. Is the point here? Okay, there are things we can come up with to work around it for as long as we need to.
It just seems
reminding ourselves it's not forever.
Correct. It's not forever. It just seems forever now because the time seems to go so slow. It's not going slow. We are now almost in the month of August, which is insane.
Yeah.
And we're going to be falling into fall the following month. And this is where I feel that it's really going to be a tide of change for when the holidays come. And if you can express how we should cope in that, because the holidays brings also a natural depression in lots of people. People are depressed because they aren't with somebody. A family member has passed away during the holiday times. Because we've had now almost 150,000 deaths in the country alone in the last 4 or 5 months. I feel the holidays are going to be.
And that's been terrible for people because they weren't able to be with their loved ones.
Oh my goodness, they can't even be with their funerals, memorial services. I can't even imagine my parents not being able to be there for them.
Right.
Where do you see us mentally and emotionally in the next 6 months?
Well, it's going to be a challenge. There's no two ways about it. But again, people need to remind themselves they've gotten through it this long. Okay, if I've already done 6 months, in essence, I can do another 6 months. And that's how you have to.
I always say, if I was in a relationship right now with a man and we were shacked in together like this quarantine, honey, if we can get through this, we can get through anything. But I'm single.
Exactly.
So,
and it's been a real test for a lot of relationships,
Yeah, I got to figure out something. If I'm single still, and I'm fine being single in a world where we need to isolate ourselves, and I've seen friends here and there. We've been social distancing, going to dinner, social distancing as much as I can. I actually did a nice trip to Chicago and Montana and Connecticut, and it was awesome. And every state in this country is going through some sort of pivot. We've been using the word pivot this year a lot. Change. So if I can be by myself, yes, it's been difficult because I've missed my friends and my social. And you guys know I'm social. I'm a social being.
Right.
It's been an adjustment. It's been an adjustment.
Right. It is, and that's what it is. We call it an adjustment disorder, right?
Adjustment, yes. While we conclude on this amazing conversation, what is your, on my podcast, I always want to leave with gems, jewels at the end of conversation. What is the gem that you want to leave us with today?
Well, the primary gem is this too shall pass.
Okay.
But I think it's just know that you have the inner strength, the inner resources to be able to get through this. And that it's a chance to learn more about yourself, about who you are as a person, what really matters to you. Because if nothing else, this really has made people realize what truly matters in their lives, you know? And it's generally not whether I, have some designer dress or something.
Oh my God, preach.
Right?
Preach.
It's what's important in my life.
Absolutely.
And who are the people that are important in my life.
Absolutely.
And realizing that that's what really matters.
One thing that's really good that came out of what I've noticed after I was doing the BLM thing and being part of my community is that I've been volunteering for this fundraising company called Children Mending Hearts, Low Blood There. And I have been helping them out for the last 7 weeks on every Wednesday and passing out, food and canned goods and clothing and diapers, whatever they bring to the community. It gets me out of the house. We're doing it safely. Everybody's masked up.
Right.
The community comes out because, we always think again, woe is me, what's wrong with me, what's wrong with my life. Girl, 5 feet away, someone's always struggling even more.
That's exactly right. So gratitude.
Gratitude. I pray for gratitude. I'm grateful every day. I wake up. I'm grateful when I go to bed. I'm grateful that my mom is here. My dad is still here. My brother is here. Family is here. The friends who really mean a lot to me are still here and supporting me. So going to this particular neighborhood, it's not a nice neighborhood. It's very poverty stricken. And it's opened my eyes to say, why did I not do this 2 years ago, 3 years, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? It took a pandemic for me to open my eyes to contribute to my community.
There you go. And that's a blessing.
It is a blessing.
Right? That's a blessing. So
it is a blessing. And I really enjoy doing it too.
Yeah, terrific.
I enjoy doing it.
And yes, that's also something people should really explore. How can I give back?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it actually releases my stress.
Yes.
I'm not worried about me.
That's right.
I'm looking at Sally and Susie and and Matthew over there, and they need our help.
That's right. Exactly. That's who needs your help. And that's the most worthwhile thing you can do is help others and get out of yourself and help other people. And if you don't have the time to do it physically,
yes,
then maybe you contribute some money.
Absolutely.
Okay. When Black Lives Matter was going on, I gave some money to, the National Lawyers Guild, which was bailing out protesters. Okay?
Oh, wow. That's great.
So, because to me, I couldn't get out there in March, but I could do that,
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. You find ways that you personally can give back.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Yes. And so you're a big believer in meditation. So I figured we could open this episode with a brief meditation because we all need to breathe. I need to breathe. I have issues with being focused and present. So let's listen to your soothing voice for a couple minutes and get us in the right mindset, right?
Absolutely.
So our minds, open our hearts.
And we all need to get centered, especially in these turbulent times.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am. Let's
right,
do it.
so everybody, close your eyes and let's do it. Close your eyes. And first, just kind of notice where you are, where you're sitting, what the chair feels like beneath you, against your back, your buttocks, your thighs. Notice your feet on the ground and really kind of press into the ground for a moment, really grounding yourself on the ground. Notice the air around you, the quality of the air. Any sounds you might hear, just notice them. And now begin to notice how you're breathing. And I want you to start really deepening that breath, making it long, slow, deep breaths. So breathing in to a count of 4 and pausing, and then breathing out to an even slower count of 6 before you pause one more time and do that again. And I'm going to count for you. So in 2, 3, 4, and pause. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pause. And in. 2, 3, 4, and pause. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pause. 3 more. In. 2, 3, 4, and pause. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pause. And in. 2, 3, 4, and pause. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pause. And now taking a nice cleansing breath in, full breath, and then just letting it all out. That's it. And for a moment, just bring your awareness to your eyelids and allowing the eyelids to remain closed, allowing the eyelids to grow nice and heavy with relaxation. Just allowing the eyelids to totally and completely relax now. And that relaxation spreads across your forehead and all the little lines there just smooth out. And the relaxation spreads across your cheeks, to your chin and your jaw. And go ahead and stretch out your jaw. You carry a lot of tension in that area. Just let it all go. That's it. And the relaxation spreads to the front and the back of the neck. And all the muscles there just release, relax. And the shoulders drop away from the neck as they completely let go now. And every breath you take doubles your relaxation, causing you to relax progressively more and more. And the relaxation spreads across your biceps and your triceps, feeling those muscles release and relax now. The relaxation spreads across your elbows and down into the forearms, across your wrists, into your hands and your fingers, right out through the tips of the fingers. And every breath you take doubles your relaxation, causing you to relax progressively more and more. And the relaxation now spreads across your chest and down into the stomach and the abdomen, feeling those muscles release and relax now. And the relaxation spreads to the small of the back, and all the nerves and ligaments located there unwind. It's just like a rubber band letting go. And every breath you take doubles your relaxation, causing you to relax progressively more and more. And the relaxation now spreads across the hips, the groin, buttocks, thighs, feeling yourself just kind of sinking into the chair beneath you as you totally relax now. And the relaxation spreads to the calf muscles, across your ankles, into your feet, to your toes, and right out through the tips of the toes. So you're sending that relaxing energy all the way from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, just feeling totally and completely relaxed now. And now for just a moment, I want you to see yourself sitting by the beach, looking out at the ocean, and noticing each wave coming in and going out. Every wave is just a little bit different from every other wave, but they're all just waves in the ocean. And our thoughts are just like those waves in the ocean. They come and they go. Each one may be a little bit different from another, but they're really all just thoughts. And they only have the meanings that we give them anyway. And there's no need to attach to any of those thoughts. They're just thoughts. They come and they go. So you just notice them, like the waves in the ocean, coming in and going out. Allowing yourself to simply be and be present in your body and not distracted by all those thoughts that just come in and go out, like the waves in the ocean. And now, as I count from 5 to 1, bringing your awareness back into the room, feeling totally and completely relaxed and ready to take on the rest of your day or evening. So 5, just wiggle your toes. 4, take a nice deep breath. 3, wiggle your fingers. And 2, one more nice deep breath. Let it all go. And just slowly open your eyes and bring your focus back to where we are.
Hi. Hi, world.
Amazing what a couple of minutes can do, right?
Why don't we do that every day? Why don't I, let's get into it. Why can't I do this? Why can't America, why can't the world take literally, what was that, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes?
Yeah, that's it, right?
If we did that and stopped making impetuous decisions and spontaneous alerts, even for me, I've made spontaneous interjections, and I'm like, and I want to insert foot into mouth. If we could just have that ingrained,
it would be a very different world. I agree.
It would, yes, it would be.
And it's such really a simple thing to do. This is not, as they say, rocket science. Okay,
not rocket science.
It's, it is something that everybody can do. Mm-hmm. So, and it would make such a huge difference in your mood, in your reactivity. When you realize that all these thoughts that, just overwhelm us, about COVID, about racism, about everything that's going on in the world, right? Politics, everything, right? It's all, we're bombarded by all this stuff all the time. And if we can just take a moment and really just, get ourselves centered and realize how much of it is just the committee in our head going on and on and on.
What did you call it?
The committee in our head.
I thought you said another word in our head. I was like, whoa. I'll tell you that word offline.
That committee gabbering away at us, okay?
Exactly. Can you tell us, broads, the broad audience, how they can contact you? Because you are doing sessions online.
That's right.
And online and telephonically.
That's right. So yeah, I do Zoom sessions. Okay.
Yes.
We do Zoom, FaceTime, whatever. Okay. And so you can be anywhere. All right. And we're, it's amazing. Very quickly, you really feel like you're in the room. It's
yes. I feel like you're in my room. You're in my living room right now. You're in my dining room, actually.
Exactly. Okay. So.
And the privacy in my home.
That's right. So, and you don't have to commute anywhere. It makes it really easy.
That's true.
Anyways, it works really well. So you can contact me via my website, which is drjudibloom.com, and Judi is Judi, and Bloom is Bloom. So drjudibloom.com. That's the best way to contact me is through that.
Okay, wonderful. And they can set up an appointment and
they can go, if they look under blog, they will see dozens and dozens of radio and television shows and video things that I've done, and
yes,
and they can learn about all different kinds of topics.
Absolutely. And you guys check out our last podcast we did with Dr. Judi Bloom last year as a podcast, and we actually dive into when you were younger and how you got into being a psychologist, and just this amazing news journalist. She worked for Fox New York and traveled all over the place, and just this fantastic journey that you created for yourself. And then you had your children, and I had a lot of feedback on that episode. A lot of people really enjoyed the episode and listening to what you did and how successful you've made your life. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure to talk to you, Shannon.
Thank you so much, and thank you, broads, and watch out for the next.
Thank you, broads.
And as always, we want to say thank you for watching Abroad.
Hate to see you